This week's channeled message from the angels is such good news. I'm so excited you are here, and I'm so excited I get to share it with you. So, we are apparently going through a very unique cosmic stream, which we have the ability to take advantage of. We just have to make an affirmative choice for our soul's growth. So, welcome back to my channel, you guys. I am so glad you are here. Welcome. And to those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Ann Tucker. I'm a trance channel. I channel from the angelic realm, and I do that by raising my awareness. I go into a deep meditative state, and from there I raise my awareness up as high as I can go. I stretch a little higher, I connect at the angelic realm, and then messages, information, and healing comes through, and I share it here with you guys on YouTube. And the angels give us a weekly play-by-play. They help us grow. They show us and help us grow through what is happening through this great transformation, this great shift in consciousness that we've been going through. And this week's message does not disappoint. And it is super exciting and uplifting, you guys. We are apparently going through an amazing they call it a field of charged particles. And well, they talked about the field of charged particles, but this is different. This is a gloriously charged with divine energy. And this is a limited window that we're going through this. And the way that these particles work is they bind to energies from our heart that where we are intending to move towards our own soul growth, and they amplify, they support, they help us. So they describe it in more detail, but it's a thing that we have to affirmatively choose it. It's almost like it grants a wish, but the wish has to be in the right frequency. That's the best way I can describe it. So yeah, very, very exciting. There's no downside to this. There's only upside. If we do nothing, the particles will just pass us by. But we have the opportunity, if there's something in us that is harmonizing with this energy, it will give us the charge. The charge will move to us, and we will then be able to use that energy towards our soul growth. So super, super cool energy, super, super cool message. So I also wanted to let you guys know. So my format, so that's kind of a summary of it. I will share the original channeling, which I did. I usually channel on Thursdays, and I'll share that with you, the recording of that channeling. And then afterwards, I will share a breakdown of the message. So this message, the way that they brought it through, is more clear. It's not as so the way frequently with the way that the messages come through from the angels is they're kind of, it comes through like a funnel, and if it's a top or higher up in the funnel, it can be a little harder to understand as they move down and bring it down and bring it down. It loses some of its meaning, it loses some of the frequency, but it becomes easier to understand. This one they chose to bring it much closer down, so you'll notice there's no angel words of the day in this message. It's pretty easy to understand, which is nice, and I think they did that because the window on this is so short. It sounds to me like we got like 2 weeks for this energy. So I think they wanted to make sure that we knew what they were talking about, and they sacrificed a little bit of the energetics in order to make that happen. So anyways, yeah, so then we will break it down because there's always possible to get more meaning from anything from the angels. So, and talk it through at the end. So before we dive in, there's something important that I want to share with you guys. So I don't know if you have been feeling this. I have absolutely been feeling it, that there's a ton of energy in the earth right now. And that it feels to me like the earth is going through this almost like a cramping. Like if I was the earth, I would say that it felt like stomach flu. It feels like this cringing that I can feel it. It feels like the earth is going through a big adjustment is the word I would say, a huge adjustment, and it feels painful to me. And so I'm feeling called to do to do something of service, to do a meditation for the earth, but it's something that it requires. There's two parts to this. So in order to be bringing the energies of the new earth, of where we're going, the meditation has to be coming from that perspective. So here is what I would like to offer, and see if you would like to be a part of it. I don't think I've talked about this that much with you guys on YouTube, but I have a series of frequencies that I brought through called the 9 angelic frequencies. Some of you have done them and have loved them, which is awesome. But they are the 9 frequencies the angels gave to us, which are in alignment with where we are going, with the new future, with who we are becoming, the new human. And it's funny, like I really only understood how profound these frequencies are after having worked with the angels for many years, and I can look now and understand and see the divine wisdom that came through with these frequencies. And they're all about the things that they've been teaching us about becoming more connected to the earth, to our higher selves, to each other, freeing us from our karma and our ancestral burdens, becoming more telepathic, more aware, more joyful. It's all of these things. And of course, there's healing in each of the sessions, but it's really about trying to embody these frequencies that are going to help us to kind of create a bridge to who we're becoming. So these they're called the Angelic Frequency Series. If you have already purchased this series from me, then just send me an email at support@anntucker.com and we will send you a link to join the meditation. So even if you've only bought one, we would love to have you there. You just need to have some hook, because that is the energy that we're going to be directing the meditation from. And so as long as you've done at least one of those meditations and absorbed one of those frequencies, then we would love to have you be in the meditation that we're going to be doing for the earth, to try to help the earth go through its transition. And it's really about, I want to try to address the pain. I don't think we're going to try to reverse anything or change the course of time or change what's happening. We're just going to try to make it more smooth, to try to make it more gentle, because it's feeling to me very, very crunchy. And so inside the earth itself. So anyways, if you want to be a part of that, if you have not yet, you can absolutely do it. If you want to sign up for the Angelic Frequency Series, or even for one session, we try to make it available at every price point, so you can buy individual sessions if that's better for you, or you can get the whole series. Our series is amazing, and I do highly recommend it if you want, if that fits for you. But if you do that now, then you will get the invitation to this meditation, and we would absolutely love to have you there, to be holding that energy of support for the earth. So anyway, so that said, it's at anntucker.com/angels, and I will put the link here as well, and it'll be down in the description box. And then if you've already done it, if you already have done at least one of the frequencies, then just send us an email, and we will send you the link to the meditation where we're going to be working together to help to ease a little bit of what's been difficult within the earth herself. Okay, you guys. So now let's go ahead and dig into the message.
Beginning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Blessings. We bring you good tidings to share now. We bring to you a new discussion, consequential and important, about this turning point that you are upon. All that you are and have ever been is moving through you now, like a stream of illumination, and you are the carrier, the import. You derive meaning from it. You are the bandwidth that opens to the truth of who you are and are becoming. This exact timing of this moment in surrender is an opportunity to open your heart more. It is an infiltration and arrival of particles that are gloriously charged with divine energy. As they hit this plane of existence, they merge and co-create from within your person, and they bridge the gap between yourself and what you wish to become. They merge within your aspirations and your endeavors to become more, to be more truthful to yourselves. They are an alignment of graceful submission, where all things, elements, and meanings submit to the meaning you would create for yourself. It is an allowance, an allowing. It bridges the gap between this time now and that time later. It helps you rise into the fullness of who you are. In this moment here, these particles are arriving. They come every day, in each moment, without stopping. They are continual, an effervescent flow of illumination. The tide shall turn. They shall not continue on forever. It is short-lived and well-meant. It is an opportunity to orchestrate your own healing, to bridge your own desires into fruition for your soul, for yourself. What shall you focus upon? Where shall you tie your own oars and heave off from past shores? How can you become a new thing, a brighter thing, something more of what you shall desire? There are many aspects of a life and of living, and all of each are important to your own differentiation as a soul, as starlight. But within the scope of this timing now, all such orchestrations of who you are can be played, but not all at once. There is choice, there is choosing involved to this surrendered divinity. The orchestration of who you are must speculate and calm yourself and settle upon one moment, one possibility, one effortless gliding into a surprising endeavor, something that lifts your spirit, that draws you into a greater fruition of you. How will you grow through this wishfulness? How will it stretch you, not bodily, but spiritually? How will you rise to fulfill it? These are the questions to ask. How may you guard against the utilization of these energies toward the movement of fearful surrender, and focus upon what can rise from within joy, what can rise from within the celebration of your soul? There are new tides before you now, new ways to rise within yourself. You may claim this time, claim these particles which are within you already. They have come, they have arrived, they are entering the field of your person. They are excitable. They can be missed entirely. They can flow through and to the beyond without releasing their charge of divine prospect. They can move beyond the realm of influence should you let them. But if you desire to stretch your heart, to climb your aspirations into a greater essence of your soul, now is the time to claim these abilities, these aspects of who you can be. Now is the time to harness yourself to the illuminative force which plays by your side, which moves through your heart space, which surrounds you now. It is everywhere, underneath and inside, and its fulfillment is ready. It is an energy galactic, most sound, an energy of starlight, an energy of rhythm and bounty. It reflects the surrendered divine who accepts your freedom, who allows you the grace to create continuity within all incarnations you have chosen. It reflects your own ability to claim the divinity within you. All you need do is bring to heart and to mind how you might grow. What will you surrender within the surrendered particles? What will you give over? What shall become beneath you as you rise into a higher state of awareness? How shall you love yourself more fully? What can you release now, today? These charged particles shall remain within the crescent of this new moon and shall fade beyond that and shall not come again. They are here for a temporary and yet important opportunity gifted to you, through you, to all who inhabit this earth. You may rise to the occasion through your pledge to love yourself differently, more fully, more accepting, more compassionately. Lift your spirits, lift your hearts into these aspirations. What feel you, we say? Where shall you endeavor to rise? What aspect of life do you feel on guard against some fear or pain? What aspect of life do you feel yourselves turning away from what is? Here is the knowledge of soul and self to be expanded. Here is the accumulated force of your own resistance to be released and opened into a greater fruition of who you are. The simple allowance of your soul is all that is required to receive, to pledge your heart to this surrendered state of I am willing. State your claim upon these vibrations that attune to your heart. State your claim. What shall you wish upon this starlight? Shall you become more fluid, in fluidity, in the way you make your choices? Shall you rise into better friendship with those you have not loved before? Shall you find compassionate expression easier between loved ones? Shall you lift and rise your perspective in the undoings and the doings of your daily nature? You may wish to find yourself celebrated differently on this earth. This is not the time to place your heart upon aspirations material or inconsequential. These are aspirations for the soul, for the heart that guides you. How shall you feel differently in your life about yourself? Feel this surrendered state. It touches you now. It speaks your name. It knows your heart. These blessings accumulate even now as the words are spoken. You may feel the earth rumble and pitch beneath you, and yet these aspirational energies lift you into a greater, brighter, broader fruition of who you shall become. Simply lift the promise of yourself into a higher dialogue, a greater wish spoken aloud to its fruition. What shall you become within this peaceful period of light and illuminative force, which is such a blessing? So what did I tell you, right? Like an exciting message, really exciting message. And it's amazing for me to think that they're saying that hey, if we don't actively, proactively take advantage of the energies will just pass by. Like they're saying that the energies are here right now, but they are a frequency and they align with a very specific emotion that we have, a very specific type. It's an emotional frequency related to the soul. So it's like if we're not in that vibration, and so many people are going to take advantage of this not even knowing it. People who are currently focused on their soul growth, like that are currently working on themselves in this time period, they're going to receive these energies and they might not even know it's happening. They just will be like, wow, I have this sudden opening, this sudden awareness about myself, this sudden like for whatever reason I'm moving through this easier, and it's because of this. But how much cooler to know consciously that the energy is there so that we can deliberately take advantage of it, and to be given such clear direction. I find it to be super exciting. So let's see what you guys are saying. Christy says, I have felt a self-acceptance on a deeper level this week, and I felt it so deep. Wow, such a beautiful gift for us. So Christy, I bet you have been tuning into these energies, feeling the energies. That is so awesome. Erin says, despite my grief, I've been feeling this crazy physical soul level excitement that I've been wondering about. Yeah, me too, right? Yeah, like there's this sense of possibility and opportunity, that I feel it too. And then Susie says, I keep feeling shifting, tilting, falling sensations, spinning today. Interesting. interesting because I think it's a very high vibration. And frequently with that, like that happens. So if you guys have ever noticed, those of you who are in peace bathing or in soul convergence, when we do, particularly happens in peace bathing, because which is our monthly healing program, they frequently will raise our vibration very quickly because they bring us up to a higher space where it's easier for them to work on us. And that process of rapidly shifting our frequency can often make people feel, just briefly, feel a little nauseous or dizzy. It gives you that like, woo. And so I think these energies are high like that. So yeah, it's interesting that you've been feeling it that way. And then Anne says, I've gone through a lot of deep soul work in the past week, day and night, being completely authentic with my true feelings. This resonates deeply. Wonderful. Wow. And Gina says, beautiful, positive message. We get a gift from the universe. Yes, yes. And Alice says, wow, that explains the energetic shift I've been experiencing was guided to fall madly in love with life, which is falling madly in love with myself. I love it. That's so cool, Alice. So let's break it down, you guys. Let's go through and like I said, I feel like the message was but we'll go through just because sometimes it stirs new thoughts as we read it together. So they start out in the first paragraph. They're usually describing, first couple paragraphs are usually telling us what the message is about. Here they say, blessings, we bring you good tidings to share now. So interesting that they even the share now, like they're talking about this as something related to timing. Timing is important in this message because this is available now, right? We bring to you a new discussion, consequential and important, about this turning point that you are upon. So that is the opportunity that it offers us, a way to really turn something around in our lives for our soul. All that you are and have ever been is moving through you now like a stream of illumination, and you are the carrier, the import. You derive meaning from it. You are the bandwidth that opens to the truth of who you are and are becoming. So this is that idea, and I love this visual of us as a stream of illumination, that all we are and have ever been is moving through us, like a stream of illumination. So, and that really fits like how I see how we embody in this life, that we think of ourselves as being a physical thing that's very stationary, when in fact what we are is like a river and a flow, or a wave, more like a wave of energy. And that wave contains all we've ever been, right? It's all here. And then we take that huge wave and we shrink it down to the bandwidth we are expressing in this life. So here they say that the bandwidth is like one band. So if you think about like in those of you who are into like radio frequencies and stuff like that, there's multiple bandwidths. So when you're turning your radio station to different frequencies, those are like different lines, and you're tuning into each line. Each line is a different bandwidth where you can hear a different radio station. Well, that's just like us in our soul. Imagine that our soul has like 50 different bandwidths, and we picked one to come through and express in this life. And the other ones might be other lives that we are having right now, right? So you are the bandwidth that opens to the truth of who you are and are becoming. So we are in this one bandwidth, but we are attempting to open to everything else, right? Open to the truth of us from within this bandwidth, but then expanding, right? How do we open from this perspective, from this glimpse of who we are? How do we go to try to incorporate everything? So this is the experience that we are having. And what's important that they say in this paragraph is that they're saying that we are making meaning out of everything. That's what we are doing. We're finding the meaning in our experience. So all that you are and have ever been is moving through you now like a stream of illumination, and you are the carrier, the import. The import is like, so it's you derive the meaning. What is import and meaning are kind of a similar word. You are the bandwidth that opens to the truth of who you are. So then they go on to say, this exact timing of this moment in surrender is an opportunity to open your heart more. It is an infiltration and arrival of particles that are gloriously charged with divine energy. So this is it. That's what we are in right now. So we are looking to find meaning, right? We're here, we're this stream, we're playing in this bandwidth, we're looking to find meaning in our life. And at this moment, we have this opportunity to experience more of that, right? To open up to more of our truth, more of who we really are, with these gloriously charged particles, charged with divine energy. And they say, as they hit this plane of existence, they merge and co-create from within your person. And they bridge the gap between yourself and what you wish to become. They merge within your aspirations and your endeavors to become more, to be more truthful to yourself. So this is super important about these particles. This part describes what the frequency is. So they won't merge with just anything. They will only merge, because these are divine energy, charged divine particles. The frequency that they are at is the frequency of, I am working to heal my soul, or explore my soul, or grow and develop my soul. love myself more. That's the frequency right there, right? So it is what you wish to become. They merge within your aspirations and endeavors to become more truthful to yourself. So that is the specific frequency. And they say that when we are experiencing that frequency in ourselves through feeling and through thought, then they say that they will merge, the particles will merge and co-create from within our person. So that is how we do it. That's how we harness the particles, is by having those feelings and thoughts about how do we become more? How do we become a more truthful version of ourselves? They go on to say they are an alignment, and this is beautiful. They are an alignment of graceful submission, where all things, elements, and meanings submit to the meaning you would create for yourself. So this is, and then they say it is an allowance, an allowing. It bridges the gap between this time now and that time later. It helps you rise into the fullness of who you are. So the reason I love this so much, they said this, they are an alignment of graceful submission. So grace is another word for source, for divine, right? In divine, in submission. So divine, the divine submits to you, right? In this moment, the divine is submitting to what is it that you want to improve or grow or heal inside of yourself. And then they say, where all things, elements, and meanings, which are all themselves divine, everything in your reality, in other words, all elements, meanings, and things. So, in other words, we have been in a process of creating from our wounding and creating our reality around us from our wounding. And in this moment, they're saying in this time period that we are in right now, this what I would call 2 weeks, they describe it lower, but 2 weeks-ish, they were saying that all of that reality, which has been in alignment with sort of the rules of the universe as defined by source, all of it will submit to the meaning you would create for yourself, right? So what is it rather than being who you have been, now we have the opportunity to be something else, and the world is going to help us by submitting to that, by allowing us to just be it, right? Amazing. They go on to say it is an allowance, an allowing. It bridges the gap between this time now and that time later, which means our future self. It helps you rise into the fullness of who you are. Beautiful. Next paragraph. In this moment here, these particles are, so they keep saying like here, now, here, like it's like they're trying to really emphasize, we can't wait, like take advantage of this now. These particles are arriving. They come every day in each moment without stopping. They are continual, an effervescent flow of illumination. So in other words, it's not like it's a blast. It's not like you have to try to catch the wave at like 2:00. It's any time during this period you can do it. But they say the tide shall turn. They shall not continue on forever. It is short-lived and well-meant. It is an opportunity to orchestrate your own healing, to bridge your own desires into fruition for your soul, for yourself. And they go on to say, and that's the big key thing about this, is like they said, it's very short-lived, very short time period we can do this. They go on to say, what shall you focus upon? Where shall you, I love this, this is they're getting into the poetry here. Where shall you tie your own oars and heave off from past shores? How can you become a new thing, a brighter thing, something more of what you shall desire? That's a beautiful little piece of poetry right there. Wow. There are many aspects of a life and of living, and all of each are important to your own differentiation as a soul, as starlight. So they're really starting to get us to think. They want us to be very, very conscious and think carefully about what is it that we want to focus upon. And they give us examples to help us. But they go on to say, but, and here they're saying they say, but within the scope of this timing now, all such orchestrations of who you are can be played, but not all at once. There is choice. There is choosing involved to this surrendered divinity. In other words, we have to pick one. So pick one until you feel like you felt it to completion. And then maybe in this period, maybe you can do 2 or 3, but pick one to start with until you feel like you've moved through it. And only one at a time. This is really important. I think this just has to do with how we create as humans, is that if we are working on 3 things at the same time, our energy is split between 3 things and we don't get nearly the same power. So this will work best if we choose one thing, put our energy to that, and let this other energy bond, this divine energy bond to that energy and give us the greatest growth that we can experience. So it's really that trying to have the mental discipline and the emotional discipline to focus on one thing at a time. They go on to say the orchestration of who you are must speculate and calm yourself and settle upon one moment, one possibility, one effortless gliding into a surprising endeavor, something that lifts your spirit, that draws you into a greater fruition of you. So the speculate is like for us to, in other words, we don't necessarily know what's going to be the very bestest thing. And they say, just speculate, just take one, just pick something. It doesn't have to be the perfect thing. Speculate. Speculate is like, yeah, it's like in other words, it almost doesn't matter as long as it is in alignment with your heart. It doesn't have to be the perfect thing. It could be anything as long as you take advantage of it. And it could be just something that feels important to you and helpful to you. And then they say, calm yourself. So at that point, pick and then stop worrying about it. Like calm yourself. Don't worry about, did I pick the right thing? Right? Calm ourselves and settle upon one moment, one possibility, one, and I love how they say, one effortless gliding into a surprising endeavor. Right? So it is like, it'll just be easy and you'll be like, wow, like some of you were saying already, like, wow, I've been noticing I'm having these sort of surprising moments of ease and beauty and in a growth and out of the blue. And yeah, so that is it. So some of you are already in this, which is amazing. And then something that lifts your spirit, that draws you into a greater fruition of you. All right, so then questions to ask. This next paragraph is they're giving us questions to ask ourselves. So how will you grow through this wishfulness? Like make a wish, right? How will you grow through this wishfulness? How will it stretch you? Not bodily, but spiritually. And how will you rise to fulfill it? These are the questions to ask. So the three questions, to put it in plainer language. At first, okay, well, how are you going to grow? What is it like that you plan to grow? Like what is the issue you're going to tackle? And then the next one, how will it stretch you? So in other words, like what will be hard about it? So if you encounter this, like if you decide this about yourself, why has it been hard in the past? To become conscious of that. Like what is hard about doing this? And then the third, they say, how will you rise to fulfill it? So what about you how might you rise to the challenge? So what is it that you might do in terms of actions or steps in order to sort of facilitate working, co-creating with this energy? So those are the three big questions they say to ask yourself. Number one, how, like what is it? How are you going to grow? What's your choice? Number two, what's going to be hard about it? And number three, how are you going to rise to the challenge? What action steps can you take? How can you start to co-create with the energy? Yeah, makes sense? All right. And they go on to say, these are the questions to ask. How may you guard against the utilization of these energies toward the movement of fearful surrender and focus upon what can rise from within joy? What can rise from within the celebration of your soul? And this is a very, very critical thing anytime we are trying to manifest anything, is that frequently people try to manifest from fear. And that might look like they're trying to create something positive because they're like sending positive thoughts and they're imagining it, but the core want, like they might be imagining positive things, but the core want may be coming from fear. So for example, what if a person had a fear about being like not having enough money to pay the bills? And so then they were trying to create a job, right? And they were focusing on like having the job, and they're trying to think of themselves like, look at the job, it's so good, I love it, I love it, I love the job. They're trying to think all these positive thoughts. But the wish for the job is coming from the fear. It's coming from the fear of not having enough. So what if instead they focused on feeling free, right? Feeling the freedom that comes from having your needs met and work that fulfills you, and not focusing on getting away from the fear of not having enough. Job equals like, you know, that's there was a fear dynamic there. Do you see? So that's the difference. How do we focus on what is it that we're trying to create? And they're telling us very clearly here, we're not meant to focus on material things in this. We're meant to, it won't bond. The energy they're saying is divine energy. It will only bond to frequencies that are related to the growth of our soul. That's the only thing it will bond to. So it's not like it's judging us. It's not like it's saying, well, your wish is materialistic, therefore you stink. Like it's perfectly okay for us to have to wish for things that are material. It's perfectly okay for you to wish for a new home, or even like to say, I would love to have those shoes that I saw last week. Like that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Like you should live a good life. You should have a beauty in your life. You should. But this specific energy is not going to bond to that. It will only bond to things that are related to soul growth. And it's just because of the nature of the energy, that's what it's for. So, all right. So then they're saying, really, we need to focus not on, be conscious. Once you come up with your thing, whatever that thing is, then go through the question in your mind. Is this joy-based? Is this heading towards something that will make me joyful? Or is there any element of this where I'm trying to get away from a fear? And just to be super truthful about that first, make sure you've got something that you know is really just leaning towards your joy. All right, so then the next paragraph. There are new tides before you now, new ways to rise within yourself. You may claim this time, claim these particles which are within you already. They have come, they have arrived, they are now, they are entering the field of your person. So key in this paragraph here is the word claim, is this idea that there is an element of our masculine energy we have to get in touch with, which is like this is like I'm taking a stand. I am going to to claim it. There's something about that that's assertive, that they want us to bring forward, that there is this, and part of in that is that I am deserving. Right? To claim it says, I am deserving. I'm willing to take what's here for me and to use it for my benefit, that I am deserving of this energy. Claim it, right? And to feel in your body, like, what does it feel like? If you can embody that feeling now of claiming something and saying, yes, I will take this, how it lifts you already. It's a strengthening from inside. And we need to get in that feeling of like, yes, I can do this. I absolutely am worthy of this. I have the ability. The world will conspire to help me. Like all of this is possible because I claim it. And so feel that free. Whenever you start to feel yourself going back into like, it's not real or it's not, claim it again, right? So keep that in your mind about claiming, because it creates an energy in you that helps you to be in alignment with it happening. All right, so this next paragraph, they say these particles, they say they are excitable. The particles are excitable. They can be missed entirely. Right? They can flow through and to the beyond without releasing their charge of divine prospect. They can move beyond the realm of influence should you let them. So in other words, if there were people on the planet right now who are not at all focused on soul growth, then it's very likely that these particles will just move right through them and it won't have any impact at all. And that's unfortunate. There's no detriment. There's nothing bad that's going to happen to them because of that at all. It's just an opportunity lost. And so that the key is to know that we have to take action in our thoughts and our hearts and in our way of being in order to take advantage of this. But I think it's so interesting here what they say, that if we don't take advantage, they won't release their charge. That idea, they're releasing a charge, that is what got me thinking. That I think it's so amazing to think about. These particles are in us. They have a charge, and they will transfer that charge to us. That's what they're saying. They will release their charge. And so fascinating. So that's how it happens. That's how the energy is transferred. This divine permission, I guess, this divine allowing, right? Where the divine is allowing us our freedom in this really big way, right? The freedom to choose. Amazing. And through the release of the charge that's been carried in these particles. And it's such an interesting way of saying like an answered prayer. Think about that. Like when a prayer is answered, how is it answered? Does it come in the form of a charged particle that then releases when it reaches your frequency? This is how we turn spirituality into something that sounds science-y. I mean, I think a lot of it is very aligned with science, but I don't know. I don't know the science. I'm just science-y, particles and things like that. Oh, anyways, okay. But I know it is. I know like it is a true thing that spirituality and science are coming closer and closer and closer together. I don't know the science, so I can't claim it. So, all right. So then they go on. They say, but if you desire to stretch your heart, to climb your aspirations into a greater essence of your soul, now is the time to claim, again, that word claim these abilities, these aspects of who you can be. Now is the time to harness yourself to the illuminative force, which plays by your side, which moves through your heart space, which surrounds you now. It is everywhere, underneath and inside, and its fulfillment is ready. So cool. So we can start today. Next paragraph. It is an energy galactic, most sound, an energy of starlight, an energy of rhythm and bounty. So beautiful. They're just giving us basically, they're telling us what is this whole paragraph is really trying to describe what this frequency is. So many of us are sort of like, I don't want to eat that until I know what's in it. So here it is. Those of you who are like really into nutrition, you're like, where's the label? Here it is. Here's the label on this energy. It is energy galactic, most sound, an energy of starlight. And most sound is means and interesting that they use the word sound, because sound is a wave, vibration, right? So it's like a sound, but probably a sound that we can't hear, a frequency, right? That is not audible to our ears, but it's galactic, so it's from within our galaxy. So And so probably from our sun is my guess. And energy of starlight and energy of rhythm and bounty. And so rhythm is going to be, again, referring to the wave, and bounty, right? Right, beautiful. It reflects the surrendered divine who accepts your freedom, right? Who allows you the grace to create continuity within all incarnations you have chosen. It reflects your own ability to claim the divinity within you. And so this is the frequency. That's the frequency is. It is God or source. That I use the word God. Please use your word. God, source, divine, setting down and saying, what will you create? Right? It's giving you, right? Surrendering, accepting your freedom, right? Allows you the grace to create, and they're saying to create continuity within all incarnations you have chosen. So we literally, they're saying not just in this life, but we have been allowed to create these storylines that we are going to play out lifetime upon lifetime upon lifetime. So it's not like we're just creating in the moment. We are creating the big picture. So, but here in this moment, right, that's the frequency is that, but it's intensified. It's this surrendered acceptance of your freedom to choose right now. And they say all you need to do is bring to heart and to mind how you might grow. So yeah, beautiful. And I hope I explained that clearly, because I feel like I was kind of bumbled in my, it is, if you think about our free will as a vibration, that the concept of from God says free will, here it is, it's yours. If that is an energy of God, that is a vibration, that is the energy that these particles carry. But it's specifically tied to soul growth. Yeah, I hope that makes it clear. So then next paragraph, what will you surrender? Within the surrendered particles, what will you give over? What shall become beneath you as you rise into a higher state of awareness? How shall you love yourself more fully? What can you release now, today? And so this is that idea of, if we are going to grow, it means we have to let go of some resistance. That no matter what, if we're growing, the only thing in our way ever is ourselves. And that's going to be resistance to the truth that we are actually divine beings who are free to create anything. And then there's layers of fear that we have that prevent us from doing it, and resistance to ourself that prevent us from doing it. So in order to grow, we have to either release fear or resistance, one of the two. And so they're saying, what will you surrender? And to these surrendered particles. So the particles are surrendering to you, right? Divine will surrenders to you, to your choice. What will you surrender back? Are you going to surrender your fear? Are you going to surrender your resistance? What will it be in order to move into this higher state? They go on, next paragraph. These charged particles, and this is the timing of it. These charged particles shall remain within the crescent of this new moon, and shall fade beyond that, and shall not come again. So, and that doesn't mean that there's not loads of energy still hitting the planet. There is, but this is a very unique energy that's here for this time period. And I think it's tied, like, I don't know why, like, why now, why this? I'm sure it's all divinely inspired, that there's probably other energies that support this energy being here now. We are in a very supercharged period right now. So it could be because of the fact that the planet's been bombarded with so much solar energy that the overall energy here is higher than usual, which may allow these particles to come, right? It's almost like there has to be a frequency. It's almost like it has to be water that it can swim in. Like, what's the temperature of the water? Is the water compatible? And right now the water is probably pretty compatible because we've been raising the temperature with all of this incredible solar energy that's been hitting the planet. So that may be why. It may be that under normal conditions, without so much solar activity, it may be harder for this kind of energy to reach us. That's just my theory. That's a theory. So within the crescent of this new moon, so what that says to my mind is, so we're hitting a new moon on Sunday. And basically, if you think about the phases of the moon, it sort of starts out as like a little crescent, and it's a crescent, and eventually it becomes like a half moon. At that point, it is no longer a crescent. So I think between now, the new moon, and when it stops being a crescent, which is basically like when it gets to be half, then I think at that point, it's like it's done. That's how I would read it. And I don't know how long that period is. I'm going to guess like 2 weeks. So yeah. They are here for a temporary and yet important opportunity gifted to you through you, to all who inhabit this earth. And they go on, next paragraph. You may rise to the occasion through your pledge to love yourself differently, more fully, more accepting, more compassionately. lift your spirits, lift your hearts into these aspirations. So it's really like any of the things that we wish for, anything that falls within the category of a pledge to love yourself differently, more fully, more accepting, more compassionately. And that could be like, there could be loads of things that fit in that bucket. How are you going to love yourself a little bit more, right? More compassionately. Yeah, lift your spirits, lift your hearts into these aspirations. What feel you, we say? Where shall you endeavor to rise? What aspect of life do you feel on guard against some fear or pain? What aspect of life do you feel yourselves turning away from what is? So this is a beautiful question to help you discern what you should focus on. And I use the word should, the angels never do. But so it's not a should, it's what would you like to? What would you like to focus on? What aspect of life do you feel on guard against some pain or fear? So what is it that we're trying to get away from? And that can be really hard to feel sometimes, like to be really attuned to that. What is it that you are turning away, where there's something in the world? There's certainly plenty of stuff in the world to trigger you right now. So what's triggering you the most? And what is your resistance to it? So let's just give as an example. A trigger might be some injustice in the world. Let's imagine that there's something happening right now that feels to you extremely unjust, and it just hurts your heart, it makes you angry, like whatever it does, right? And this is just a hypothetical. So take that feeling and say, what is at the root of that? Like, is there underneath that is there a fear underneath that? Is there resistance inside of yourself? Is there a fear that you will be judged? Is there a fear that there's not enough, that the world is an unsafe place? Like, if you sit with that feeling of the anger or the resistance, and you sit with it and say, what does it mean to you personally? What is your fear about that happening? Because there's a fear tied to it. If you can get to that core fear, that is an enormously positive thing to work on, right? That would be something that will help you grow dramatically. Because the bigger the trigger, the deeper the emotions, the greater the shift you can make. So that's an example. What they're saying here is, what aspect of life do you feel on guard against some fear or pain? What aspect of life do you feel yourself turning away from what is? So what is bugging the heck out of you? And that's the place to look. So that's a great way to find something to work on for this period. And you might be shocked of how easily you move through it. And by the way, just because you move through it, it doesn't mean you have to tolerate it. A lot of people ask, like, how am I not supposed to be in resistance to something that is like human rights violations or something like that, where someone's obviously, being harmed in some way? How am I not supposed to fight that or feel angry about that? And just because we accept that it's true doesn't mean that we have to like it, right? That we can get to the place where we're no longer on guard against it. That all it means is that it's not that we accept that it's happening, we accept that it's true. And there's a huge difference in that. To accept something means that I'm okay with it. And that's not what they're asking us to do. They're not saying you have to be okay with it. You just have to acknowledge the truth of it. We have to not resist the fact that it's happening. And that's where a lot of our feelings come from, is resisting that something is existing. We want it not to be true. Feel that in your body. The next time you feel really riled up about something, are you wishing it didn't exist? And that's where the anger and the fear and the stuff, I wish that didn't exist. We have to get to the place where we say, I acknowledge that exists. And I feel the pain of it and I feel the sorrow of it. I acknowledge that it exists. Doesn't mean I like it, but it exists. And now where do we go from here? Right? And that takes all the emotional charge out of it. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to fight it, because you may still, but you'll fight it from a place of peace. You'll fight it from a place of spiritual thinking, of logical analysis, not driven by fear and resistance, right? No good comes from fear. It just creates polarity. Resistance and fear only create polarity. And that just creates more of the thing that we're trying to get away from. So we have to get into that neutral space of problem solving where things can actually be resolved. We have to take the energy out of them in order for them to resolve themselves. And that starts inside. Boy, that's a whole nother conversation, isn't it? That's a whole nother conversation. Okay, so going on, next paragraph. Here is the knowledge of soul and self to be expanded. Here is the accumulated force of your own resistance to be released and opened into a greater fruition of who you are. The simple allowance of your soul is all that is required to receive. to pledge your heart to this surrendered state of I am willing. They go on to say, state your claim upon these vibrations that attune to your heart. State your claim. What shall you wish upon this starlight? Shall you become more fluid, in fluidity with the way you make your choices? Shall you rise into better friendship with those you have not loved before? Shall you find compassionate expression easier between loved ones? Shall you lift and rise your perspective in the undoings and the doings of your daily nature? So these are just examples of things that you might focus on, like that you might find that maybe you are triggered. So here, this one that shall you find compassionate expression easier between loved ones? Maybe you're really triggered in a family relationship right now. And so this might be something that you wish for your heart, to find compassionate expression easier between loved ones so that you can come to agreements and talk things through from the heart, right? So that would be a beautiful one to wish for. So that was just some examples there, right? The another one, shall you rise into better friendship with those you have not loved before? So that's, what if you have a fear of strangers? What if you have negative thoughts about people that, or biases about people that maybe you haven't known or that come from cultures or backgrounds that you're not familiar with? Then that would be a place that maybe you could wish for yourself if you feel fear. And maybe that fear is based on a truthful experience that you had. But you could wish for yourself to rise into better friendship with people you haven't loved before, right? People, anybody. It could be murderers, right? It could be like, wow, I'm really afraid of people who commit this crime. Okay, the only way to take energy out of that, right, is to find the compassion in it, is to come back to the neutral space of not accepting that it's okay, accepting that it's true. That's the difference, right? And then we get to the space where we can come into a place where we can hopefully love them back into wholeness and end that behavior, right? We don't come into it with the idea that I'm going to end your behavior. We come into it that you're going to end your behavior because you are going to be healed, because you're loved back into wholeness. Not you as in, I mean like the murderers. The murderers are going to be healed back into wholeness, right? Shall you lift and rise your perspective into the undoings and doings of your daily nature, right? So maybe it's just about being more peaceful in your daily life, that maybe you're finding tension in your daily commute and it's triggering you. So whatever, they're really saying, it's like, look at your life and try to read your life for what might inspire you. And then this next paragraph, they're talking about that it shouldn't be about material gain. So they say, you may wish to find yourself celebrated differently on this earth. This is not the time to place your heart upon aspirations material or inconsequential. These are aspirations for the soul, for the heart that guides you. How shall you feel differently in your life about yourself? And again, no judgment about material aspirations. That's not what they're saying. They're just saying that the specific frequencies are designed to bind to heart desire to heal soul. That's the frequency that it's there for. So it just won't attach to material wishes, or won't bind to them. Next paragraph, feel this surrendered state. It touches you now. It speaks your name. It knows your heart. These blessings accumulate even now as the words are spoken. So I love that one of you was saying earlier how you felt this just feeling of like incredible possibility around you right now. And I think you named it. Absolutely. That is what this is. And they're saying, feel it. Like it's here for us. If we can just lean into it, it's here. They go on to say, you may feel the earth rumble and pitch beneath you, and yet these aspirational energies lift you into a greater, brighter, broader fruition of who you shall become. So yeah, I paused on that. I underlined that. You may feel the earth rumble and pitch beneath you. So we may be seeing, and it has been happening over the last there's been definitely an uptick, I think, in like earthquakey, volcano-y things just recently. There may be more, is what this, so, or they could be just referencing what's been ongoing. But in other words, it could also be, this could be related to actual like earth rumbling and pitching. It can also mean emotional turmoil, right? That it could be that going through this, as we are opening ourselves to this change, we're opening ourselves to emotions rising to the surface, and that can be hard. But just remember, emotions, if you let them rise, if we don't resist them, they are meant to move through you. That your emotions are never going to take over and destroy you. That if you let the emotions, if you let them come up with resistance and you just let yourself feel it, 90 seconds. And you literally can't even find it anymore if you just feel it for 90 seconds and it'll go away. So they say you may feel the earth rumble and pitch beneath you, and yet these aspirational energies lift you, right? So this is going to work with us, help us, lift us up to brighter, broader fruition of who you shall become. Simply lift, lift, lift the promise of yourself into a higher dialogue, right? Wish for something higher. Reach for the stars on this one, is what they're saying. A greater wish spoken aloud, right? Big one right here. Make sure we say, once you choose your thing, speak it aloud to the angels. Speak it aloud to yourself. Spoken aloud to all of reality, right? Spoken aloud to its fruition. And that is, I think that this would work without speaking it aloud, but speaking stuff aloud is extremely potent, extremely powerful. So how can you take action to help yourself through this process? Speaking it aloud is one of those things, right? It's almost like it is that you are sending out a frequency, claiming. It's that idea of claiming it, the masculine energy inside of yourself, getting that strong. Like, I claim this for myself. That's the speaking it aloud, right? What shall you become within this peaceful period of light and illuminative force, which is such a blessing? So you guys, thank you so, so much for being with us today. I really appreciate you being here. Sending you tons of love and appreciation. And I will see you guys next Friday live. Bye, you guys.